Before 2026 arrives, life will give us all another 365 chances to rise, to change, and to grow. But the truth is, many people wait for life to change, while very few decide to change their life. My friends, transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens by awareness, action, and connection with the divine energy within us. God doesn't choose the strongest or the richest. He chooses those who are willing to listen, to learn, and to live with purpose. And today I want to share with you 10 things you must do before 2026 if you truly want to change your life forever. Every day, you wake up with two choices: to repeat the past or to rewrite your future. Most people complain about life storms, but wise people learn to dance in the rain. The difference between an ordinary year and an extraordinary one lies not in luck, but in the choices you make, the people you keep, and the peace you protect. Life is not just about survival, it's about spiritual growth, inner balance, and service. So as 2026 approaches, let's prepare not just our plans, but our hearts. Let's align our actions with our purpose, and our purpose with God's guidance. Start listening to the voice within, because that voice is not just a sound, it's your inner compass, your truest guide, and the soft whisper of God that leads you when the world becomes too loud. In this busy, noisy, distracted life, we've learned to hear everything except ourselves. We hear opinions, gossip, expectations, and judgments, but the one voice that matters most, the one that carries peace, clarity, and divine direction, often gets lost in the chaos. That voice doesn't shout, it whispers. It's calm, it's patient, it's constant. And when you learn to listen to it, you no longer walk through life confused, you walk with purpose. Imagine waking up every morning to 1,000 notifications, calls, and messages. The world starts pulling you before you even take a breath. Your mind becomes crowded before your soul even wakes up. That's what most people experience daily. A life filled with noise, not meaning. But if you can take just 5 minutes to be still, to close your eyes, and to connect with that quiet inner space, you'll feel something extraordinary. In that silence, you'll realize that you don't need more answers from the world. The answers have always been within you, waiting for your attention. When you start listening to your inner voice, you'll notice it speaks in feelings, not words. It's that gentle hesitation before you make a wrong choice. It's the warmth in your heart when you help someone. It's the peaceful silence when you do something right, even when nobody's watching. That's God's way of communicating with you, not through signs outside, but through sensations within. For example, when you're about to argue with someone and something inside you says, "Stay calm, it's not worth it." That's not weakness, that's wisdom. When you feel uneasy about an opportunity that looks perfect on paper, that's your inner guide protecting you from something unseen. And when you suddenly feel inspired to take a bold step, even if it scares you, that's your inner voice pushing you toward growth. But most people ignore that voice because it doesn't always say what we want to hear. It often asks for patience when we crave speed, forgiveness when we want revenge, and gratitude when we want more. It guides us toward peace, not popularity. It tells us to let go when we want to hold on. It reminds us that true success is not about what we gain, but what we grow through. Learning to listen to this voice is like tuning a musical instrument. The more you practice, the clearer it becomes. Think of it this way: your mind is like a crowded marketplace. Everyone shouting, everyone selling something, everyone trying to get your attention. But the voice of your soul is like a temple, quiet, sacred, and peaceful. You cannot hear the temple bells if you keep standing in the marketplace. You must walk away, even if just for a few minutes, to reconnect. That's why silence isn't emptiness, it's full of answers. Meditation, nature walks, journaling, or simply sitting in gratitude. These are not rituals. They are ways to reconnect with that divine presence inside you. In daily life, you can practice listening to your inner voice in the smallest choices. When you feel torn between reacting in anger or responding with understanding, pause. Ask yourself, what will bring peace, not pride? When you feel tired and your mind says, keep working, but your soul says, rest, learn to honor that stillness. When everyone around you is chasing what's trending, listen to what's true for you. You'll notice that the more you follow that voice, the lighter life becomes. Not easier, but lighter, because you stop fighting against what's meant for you. Your inner voice will never mislead you. It will never push you into fear, jealousy, or greed. It will never compare you to others. It only guides you toward peace, authenticity, and love. But the world trains us to doubt it, to believe that logic knows best, that society knows best, that success means following the crowd. Yet, some of the greatest people in history were those who trusted that quiet inner guidance, even when the world laughed. They followed their hearts when no one else understood. That's what gave their life meaning beyond money or fame. Alignment with truth. If you look closely, every time you ignored that inner voice, you suffered. You said yes when your heart said no. You stayed where you should have left. You doubted what was clear inside you. And every time you followed that voice, even when it was hard, life opened up in ways you didn't expect. Because that voice is not separate from life. It is life. It's your connection to the divine intelligence that moves the stars, the waves, and your breath. So, before you make your next decision, before you take your next step, before you let the world tell you what you should do, pause. Ask yourself, what is my inner voice saying? Sit with it. Listen deeply. It may not give you an answer right away, but it will give you peace. And peace is always a sign of the right direction. As 2026 approaches, make this your habit, to start each day with silence and end each day with reflection. Don't let your inner voice be buried under distractions. Protect it. Nurture it. Follow it. Because when you learn to listen to that divine whisper inside you, you no longer live by chance. You live by choice, by purpose, and by connection. And that is how true change begins. Not by changing the world outside, but by awakening the power of the voice within. Cleanse your mind every morning, because before you face the world, you must first face yourself. Each new day is like a blank page, and the thoughts you carry from yesterday decide what kind of story you will write today. When your mind is cluttered with yesterday's worries, regrets, and fears, it becomes impossible to see the beauty of the present moment. Just like a mirror covered in dust cannot reflect your true image, a mind filled with negativity cannot reflect your true potential. Cleansing your mind is not a luxury, it's a necessity, the foundation for a peaceful, purposeful, and powerful life. Every morning before you check your phone or step into your routine, take a few moments to pause. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and allow yourself to feel the stillness of the moment. That breath is not just air, it's life reminding you that you have been given another chance, another sunrise to start again, another opportunity to become a better version of yourself. But to do that, you must leave behind what no longer serves you. The pain of yesterday, the mistakes, the stress, they are not meant to travel with you into today. You cannot carry the baggage of old emotions and expect to walk freely into a new day. Think about your mind like a home. Every night you bring things into it, conversations, worries, opinions, and experiences. If you never clean that home, it becomes crowded, messy, and suffocating. The same happens to your inner world. That's why cleansing your mind every morning is like opening the windows of your soul and letting the fresh air of peace flow in. It's about creating space for gratitude, positivity, and clarity. Many people wake up and instantly dive into chaos. They rush to check messages, news, and social media. Before their feet even touch the ground, their mind is already consumed by comparison and distraction. And then they wonder why their day feels heavy. But the problem is not the world, It's the state of their inner world. You can't start your morning with noise and expect your day to be calm. You can't fill your mind with complaints and expect your life to feel content. Start your morning instead with gratitude. When you open your eyes, thank the Creator for another day of life. Thank your body for carrying you, your breath for keeping you alive, your challenges for making you stronger. Gratitude is the soap of the soul. It washes away complaints and allows contentment to shine through. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's meaningful. When you fill your first thoughts with thankfulness, negativity loses its place in your mind. Meditation, journaling, prayer, or even quiet reflection, all these are ways to cleanse your mind. You don't have to sit cross-legged or chant anything mystical. Just sit in silence and talk to yourself kindly. Remind yourself that you are not your mistakes. You are not your worries. You are not your fears. You are the awareness behind all of them. The calm observer, the soul that's unshaken even when life gets messy. When you begin your day with this awareness, you carry peace wherever you go, no matter how chaotic the world becomes. Consider a simple example. Imagine you spill ink on a white shirt. You wouldn't wear it all day just because it happened early in the morning, would you? You'd clean it, change it, or do something about it. But when something small goes wrong in the morning, a negative comment, a delayed plan, an old worry, we let it stain our entire day. We replay it over and over until the whole day feels ruined. Cleansing your mind means learning to wash away those small stains before they become permanent marks. It means not allowing one bad thought to control the rest of your day. Your mind is like a garden. What you plant in the morning is what will grow throughout the day. If you plant thoughts of peace, patience, and purpose, your actions will bloom with grace. But if you plant seeds of doubt, anger, or stress, they will grow into problems that consume your energy. The choice is always yours. You cannot control what thoughts enter your mind, but you can control which ones you water. In daily life, this practice can be as simple as taking 5 mindful breaths before leaving your bed. Feel gratitude for your life. Let go of yesterday's emotions. If something hurt you, forgive. If something failed, release it. If something beautiful happened, appreciate it. This 5-minute mental cleansing will do more for your peace than an hour of scrolling through distractions. Cleansing your mind every morning doesn't just bring peace, it brings power. Because when your mind is calm, your decisions are clear. When your thoughts are pure, your energy is strong. And when your heart is light, your path becomes open. A clean mind sees possibilities where a cluttered one sees problems. It hears intuition where confusion used to scream. It notices beauty where stress used to blind. Every sunrise is an invitation to reset your inner world. The world outside may be unpredictable, but your inner world can always be peaceful if you choose it to be. Start small, a few minutes of silence, a few words of gratitude, a few deep breaths, and slowly, it becomes your way of life. Because peace doesn't arrive by accident, it's created by cleansing away everything that isn't peace. So tomorrow morning, before you rush to meet your day, take a moment to meet yourself. Cleanse your thoughts, calm your spirit, and remind yourself that life is not meant to be lived in chaos. You are meant to live with clarity, balance, and joy. Let go of yesterday, breathe in today, and trust that when your mind is clear, your life naturally becomes brighter. Cleansing your mind each morning isn't just a ritual, it's an act of love toward your soul, and it's how you begin every day with divine strength and peace. Let go of control, trust God's timing. This is one of the hardest lessons in life, because as human beings, we want things to happen when we want them to happen. We make plans, set deadlines, and expect life to follow our schedule. But life has its own rhythm, its own season, its own timing, and no matter how much we push or force, some things will only unfold when the time is right. Trusting God's timing means surrendering that restless need to control everything and learning to flow with life instead of fighting against it. It means believing that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what's not meant for you will never stay, no matter how tightly you hold on. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, nurture it, and wait. You cannot dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You let the sun, soil, and time do their work. The same applies to your dreams, your relationships, your healing. Everything in life takes its own time to bloom. The mistake we often make is trying to force the flower to open before it's ready. We rush love, we rush success, we rush healing. And in doing so, we destroy the beauty that patience could have brought. True faith means understanding that just because something isn't happening right now doesn't mean it never will. Sometimes the delay is protection, sometimes the pause is preparation, and sometimes the waiting itself is the lesson. When you let go of control, you make space for peace. You stop fighting life and start flowing with it. There's a quiet strength in surrender, not weakness, not giving up, but trusting that there's a wisdom greater than your own guiding everything. The ocean doesn't fight the tide, it moves with it. The trees don't resist the seasons, they adapt. The sun doesn't rush the dawn, it rises when it's time. Everything in nature trusts its rhythm, and so should you. When you stop resisting, you begin to live in harmony with life. In our daily lives, we can see how control often leads to frustration. Think about a moment when you wanted something to happen your way, a job, an opportunity, a relationship, and it didn't work out. At that time, it felt unfair. You questioned everything. But months or years later, when you looked back, you realized why it didn't happen. Something better was waiting. Or perhaps it saved you from something that would have hurt you. This is how divine timing works, unseen, silent, but always right. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop putting in effort. It means you stop forcing outcomes. You still plant seeds, you still work hard, but you release the anxiety of when and how the results will appear. You do your part and trust the rest to God. When you learn this balance, your heart becomes peaceful. You no longer wake up with fear, you wake up with faith. You understand that everything that belongs to you will find its way to you, not through worry, but through alignment. Many people think that control gives them power. But the truth is, control drains your power. It keeps you tense, anxious, and afraid of losing what was never fully yours to begin with. The moment you surrender to divine timing, something beautiful happens. Your shoulders relax, your mind quiets, and your heart becomes lighter. You start noticing signs, opportunities, and blessings that were always there, but your need for control had blinded you to them. In relationships, for example, we often try to control how people feel, behave, or love us. We chase, we beg, we cling, hoping to keep someone who's already drifting away. But love cannot be forced. It must be free to stay. When you let go, you give both yourself and the other person the space to grow. And if they're meant to return, they will, not because you control them, but because they chose to. Real love doesn't come from control, it comes from connection, trust, and freedom. In careers too, you might try to control every outcome. To get that promotion, to hit that milestone, to succeed by a specific date. And when things don't go as planned, you start doubting your worth. But sometimes the delay is not denial, it's direction. Maybe life is slowing you down so you can learn a skill, build character, or prepare for something greater. The same wind that delays one ship also carries another safely home. The key is to stay calm during your waiting season, knowing that the wind is not against you, it's guiding you. Even in moments of failure, when plans collapse and everything seems uncertain, trusting God's timing can turn pain into peace. Because once you realize that every event, every loss, every delay has a purpose, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying, "Why me?" You start viewing challenges as lessons and waiting as growth. You understand that the universe is not punishing you, It's positioning you. Think about how many times you thought you were ready, but life knew you weren't. You wanted success before you had discipline. You wanted love before you knew how to love yourself. You wanted freedom before you learned responsibility. God's timing is perfect because it prepares you for what you're asking for. You may think you're waiting for something, but often it's that something waiting for you to grow into the person who can handle it. So, when life feels uncertain, breathe. When doors close, trust. When plans fail, pause. Every delay is divine design. Every waiting season is preparing you for your winning season. Control is exhausting, but faith is freeing. You don't have to know when it will happen. You only have to know that it will happen when it's meant to. Let go of control, because holding on too tightly only keeps your hands too full to receive new blessings. Let life unfold with patience. Let God guide your steps. And remember, even when nothing seems to be happening, everything is being arranged in perfect time. The more you trust, the more peace you'll feel. And one day, when everything finally falls into place, you'll look back and realize why it had to happen exactly as it did. Not too early, not too late, but beautifully on time. Choose your circle wisely. Because the people you allow into your space have the power to lift you higher or pull you down without even saying a word. Every person carries energy, and that energy silently shapes your mood, your mindset, and your motivation. Whether you realize it or not, the people closest to you influence how you think, how you act, and how you see yourself. Life is not just about what you achieve, it's also about who you surround yourself with while you achieve it. The right circle will push you toward your purpose, while the wrong one will quietly poison your peace. In today's world, people often chase quantity. Hundreds of followers, a big friend list, countless contacts. But what truly matters is quality. A small circle filled with genuine hearts is far more valuable than a large crowd of people who only stand beside you when it's convenient. The truth is, you don't need everyone to like you. You only need a few people who truly understand and support you. Your inner circle should be your sanctuary, not your battlefield. It should be a place where you can grow, not where you have to constantly defend your worth. Think about how powerful influence is. If you spend your time with people who complain constantly, you will eventually find yourself complaining too. If you're always surrounded by those who doubt everything, you'll start doubting your own dreams. But if you walk with those who speak faith, positivity, and vision, you'll start believing in yourself more deeply. It's not magic, it's energy. You absorb the mindset of the people you spend time with. Their habits slowly become your habits. Their attitude becomes your attitude. Their direction becomes your direction. That's why choosing your circle is one of the most spiritual decisions you can ever make. In daily life, we often stay connected to certain people out of habit or history. Maybe they've been your friends for years, maybe they're family, maybe you fear being alone. But ask yourself, do they nourish your peace or disturb it? Do they celebrate your growth or mock it? Do they bring calm or chaos? There comes a time when protecting your peace means walking away, even from people you once loved. It doesn't mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to not drown in their storms. Not everyone can handle your light. Some people are only comfortable with your shadow. And that's okay. Growth naturally creates distance. Let's take an example. Imagine two people trying to climb a mountain together. One is determined and focused, while the other keeps sitting down, complaining, and pulling the other back. Eventually, the first person has two choices. Either slow down to stay or move forward to grow. In life, it's the same. You cannot climb higher while constantly carrying the weight of people who don't want to rise. Sometimes, you have to release those who are not willing to climb with you. Not because you think you're better, but because your paths are simply different. Choosing your circle wisely also means surrounding yourself with truth tellers. People who are honest enough to correct you, not just comfort you. Friends who tell you when you're wrong but never make you feel small. People who hold you accountable when you lose focus and remind you of your purpose when you forget it. Real friends don't feed your ego, they feed your growth. They want to see you succeed, not just for their benefit, but because your light inspires theirs to shine brighter too. At the same time, be someone who adds value to others. Don't only seek uplifting company. Be uplifting company. Be the person who listens without judgment, who encourages without envy, who helps others rise even when no one is watching. Because the energy you give is the energy you attract. When you bring peace into people's lives, you naturally attract peaceful souls into yours. When you spread kindness, it comes back to you in unexpected ways. One powerful thing happens when you choose your circle with awareness. Your life becomes calmer. You stop feeling drained. You stop doubting yourself. You begin to glow differently because you're finally surrounded by people who remind you of your worth. They speak with intention. They respect your boundaries. They encourage your dreams. With them, silence feels peaceful, not awkward. With them, laughter feels healing, not forced. That's what a healthy circle does. It nurtures your soul. But when your circle is wrong, you'll always feel like you're fighting for space, fighting to be understood, fighting to stay sane. No matter how much you love them, if their energy constantly disrupts your peace, it's time to let go. Remember, peace is not selfish, it's sacred. Protect it. The moment you start valuing peace over popularity, everything in your life begins to align. There will be times when you feel lonely after letting certain people go. But that loneliness is not emptiness. It's healing space. It's the quiet moment before new, better connections enter your life. Sometimes God removes people not to punish you but to prepare you. The wrong circle can delay your purpose, while the right one can accelerate your destiny. So don't be afraid of being alone for a while. It's better to walk alone in truth than to walk with many in confusion. Your circle is your mirror. Look closely at it, and you'll see your future. If your circle is filled with negativity, laziness, and gossip, your life will reflect the same. But if it's filled with discipline, vision, gratitude, and peace, your path will shine. Life is too short to be surrounded by those who don't inspire your growth or respect your spirit. Choose the ones who see your light even when you forget it. Choose those who want to rise with you, not compete with you. So choose your circle wisely, not out of fear, but out of faith, because your journey deserves genuine souls who help you become your best self. Let your circle be small but strong, quiet but deep, few but true. In a world full of noise, be surrounded by peace. In a world full of pressure, be surrounded by purpose. Because at the end of the day, the people beside you are not just part of your story, they're shaping the person you are becoming. And when your circle is right, your life naturally becomes light. Serve without expectation, because the purest form of love is not measured by what you receive, but by what you give without asking for anything in return. In a world where almost everything has a price, true service stands as a rare and sacred act. When you serve others selflessly, you align yourself with the highest energy of the universe, the energy of giving, compassion, and purpose. Every time you do something good for someone, not for recognition or reward, but simply out of love and kindness, you rise above ego and connect directly with the divine within you. Service is not just about action, it's about intention. It's about doing something good even when nobody sees it, because you know that the smallest act done with a pure heart carries immense power. In daily life, we often find ourselves expecting appreciation, gratitude, or some form of acknowledgement for what we do. When we help someone and they don't say, "Thank you," we feel hurt. When we give and it's not returned, we feel disappointed. But that's where true service gets tested. Serving without expectation means realizing that you're not doing it for applause. You're doing it for alignment. You're not feeding your ego, you're feeding your soul. The one who truly serves does not look for credit, because they understand that what is done with love never goes unnoticed by the one who created love itself. Think about the sun. It gives light every day, asking for nothing in return. The trees give shade, the rivers give water, the flowers give fragrance. Not once do they demand a reward. Their service is their nature. That's what it means to live in harmony with divine purpose. To give because giving is your joy, not your duty. The more you give without expectation, the more fulfilled you become, because service expands your heart. It reminds you that life's greatest happiness doesn't come from what you possess, but from how much peace you bring to others. Serving others doesn't always mean doing something grand. It's in the smallest, simplest gestures that your humanity shines. It could be a kind word to someone who feels invisible, a smile to someone who's having a rough day, helping a neighbor without being asked, or just listening to someone who needs to be heard. Service is not about how much you give, but how deeply you care. You never know how your one small act can ripple through someone's life. A word of encouragement can save a person from giving up. A single act of kindness can restore someone's faith in goodness. Every drop of compassion adds to the ocean of healing this world so desperately needs. But serving without expectation requires strength, because the ego constantly wants to be recognized. It whispers, "Why should you help when no one helps you?" It tells you, people take advantage of your kindness. Yet the wise person knows that kindness is never wasted. Even if others forget your help, the energy of your intention never disappears. Life has its own way of returning what you give, not always from where you expect, but always when you need it most. When you serve selflessly, you are planting seeds of blessings that will one day bloom in your path. Look at examples from daily life. A mother wakes up before everyone else, cooks, cleans, works, and often sacrifices her comfort, not because she's forced to, but because she loves. She doesn't keep score, she gives endlessly. That is service without expectation. A teacher who spends extra hours guiding a struggling student doesn't do it for money. They do it because they care about shaping a life. A stranger who helps someone carry heavy bags, expecting nothing in return, performs an act that might seem small but carries immense spiritual weight. These moments are sacred because they reflect the pure essence of humanity, giving without agenda. When you begin to serve without expecting anything back, something powerful happens inside you. Your heart becomes lighter. The bitterness that often comes from disappointment disappears. You stop doing things to impress and start doing them to express your true nature. And that expression connects you with peace. Because deep down, our souls find joy in giving. The act of service aligns you with your purpose. It reminds you that you are not here just to survive, but to contribute. Even in difficult times, when you feel empty or broken, serving others can bring healing. Helping someone else while you're hurting shows that your spirit is stronger than your pain. It transforms your suffering into strength. It reminds you that even when life takes from you, you still have something beautiful to give. Your compassion, your smile, your time. When you give from that space, you are not losing anything, you are expanding your soul. There will always be people who misunderstand your kindness, who take it for weakness. Don't let that stop you. Continue to serve with sincerity, because service is not about them. It's about you and your connection with something greater. The one who serves selflessly is never truly empty, because every act of giving refills the heart with silent joy. So, serve not to be seen, but to see others smile. Serve not to gain, but to grow. Serve not to prove, but to purify your own soul. When you make service your lifestyle, gratitude becomes your natural state. Every day you will wake up knowing that you've made someone's life a little lighter, their heart a little happier, their path a little brighter. That is true success. In the end, When life fades and all material things lose their meaning, what remains are the moments you touched another life with kindness. What you give outlives you. Every selfless act is a silent prayer that travels far beyond your sight. So serve without expectation, because when you give purely, you are not just helping someone else, you are honoring the divine light within you. Forgive and move forward, because holding on to anger is like carrying a fire in your heart and expecting someone else to get burned. Forgiveness is not about saying what happened was okay, it's about saying, I choose peace over pain. Every one of us has been hurt by someone, through betrayal, words, lies, or actions that left invisible scars. But the truth is, the longer we hold on to that pain, the more we allow it to live inside us. And the one it hurts the most is not the person who wronged us, it's us. Forgiveness is the bridge between pain and peace, between the past and your future. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's not losing, it's freeing. Imagine walking through life with a heavy backpack filled with stones, each stone representing a memory of hurt, disappointment, or betrayal. Every time you remember it, you add another stone. Slowly, the weight becomes unbearable, and you wonder why your journey feels so hard. Forgiveness is simply taking those stones out, one by one. It doesn't mean you forget the lessons. It means you release the burden, because you cannot walk toward a bright future if your heart is still chained to yesterday's pain. In our daily lives, forgiveness is constantly tested. In relationships, family, work, and friendships. Someone says something unfair, someone betrays your trust, someone walks away without explanation. Your first reaction is to hold on, to replay it, to wish things were different. But when you keep replaying the hurt, you're giving your power away. The person who hurt you may move on, but you remain stuck in the memory. Forgiveness gives you that power back. It says, I won't let this pain control me anymore. It's not about changing the past, it's about changing your relationship with it. Think of a person who hurt you deeply. Every time you think about them, your heart tightens. But what if you could think of them without feeling that pain? What if you could wish them peace, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free? That's what forgiveness does. It heals the emotional wound. Even if the scar remains, it allows you to look at what happened and say, this taught me something. You stop asking, why me? And start realizing, maybe this happened for my growth. In real life, forgiving doesn't mean you have to go back to toxic people or let them hurt you again. It doesn't mean ignoring what happened or pretending it didn't affect you. It means you no longer let that event dictate your emotions or decisions. You can forgive and still set boundaries. You can forgive and still walk away. Forgiveness is for your peace, not their comfort. Take an example. Imagine a friend you trusted shared your secret and broke your faith. It hurts, doesn't it? The easy thing is to close your heart forever and say, I'll never trust anyone again. But in doing so, you let one person's mistake poison your future connections. The stronger choice is to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to feel light again. You can choose to learn to be wiser in trust, but not colder in heart. That's real strength. Forgiveness also means forgiving yourself. Sometimes we are harder on ourselves than on others. We replay our mistakes, our regrets, our moments of weakness. We say, I should have known better. But the truth is, you did the best you could with the awareness you had at that moment. Beating yourself up doesn't change the past, it only steals your present. Self-forgiveness is the first step to healing. When you forgive yourself, you make space for growth, not guilt. You tell yourself, I may have fallen, but I'm still worthy of love, peace, and happiness. Life will always give you opportunities to forgive, because life constantly teaches you that peace is more valuable than pride. Some people will never apologize, and that's okay. Some wounds will never be acknowledged, and that's okay too. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself, not for others. It's a declaration that says, I refuse to be held hostage by what hurt me. The moment you truly forgive,